Hi, Peter Charles here, Folks for Life Fly Fishing. And today I'd like to take a look at the Airflo FLO-tips. These are a unique style of sink tips that are meant for use with Skagit shooting heads. I'd like to take a look at how they're made and how they're fished. These sink tips can be purchased separately, or you can buy them in a set of 4, which includes the wallet as well. Now, each of the sink tips are made the same way. The front end is composed of 7.5 feet of T material, and the back end is composed of 2.5 feet of intermediate. There are 4 sink tips available in a T18, a T14, a T10, and a T7. The front loop of each sink tip is marked with the density, the length, and it also has a color code. White for T7, orange for T10, brown for T14, and black for T18. Now, these flow tips offer plenty of advantages when fishing and casting. So let's take a look at first about the casting issues. Given the way they're constructed, they don't require a lot of adjustment when going from T7 to T18. Yes, T18 is heavier, and yes, you'll notice it. But you don't have to make a big adjustment going from one to the other. As the flow tip has an intermediate back section, its grip on the anchor is consistent, so when we're moving from one tip to another, there isn't a big casting adjustment to be made. In comparison, a sink tip set made up of T material and floater sections can be quite inconsistent in the anchor grip between the full T material tip and the one that has a lot of floater in it. When it comes to fishing, what a set of flow tips does for us is it enables us to fish a broad variety of conditions without carrying a lot of tips with us. On my local river, I know it very well. I can look at the flow charts and see what the flow is for a given day. I know what I have to bring in the way of sink tips. But if you're going someplace where you're not familiar with the river, do you bring a lot of stuff with you, or would you like to cover it with just 4 tips? And what that broad range of T7 to T18 does for us, it enables us to handle a broad range of conditions. And that's the reason why I like these if I was going to go traveling. I could travel light and yet be certain that I would be able to handle most of the fishing situations I'm likely to encounter. Now, very light heads might struggle to handle T14 or T18. So how do you know if your head is going to work with a T14 or T18 tip? Now, there is a simple formula you can use. Take the grain weight of the head, divide it by its length, and multiply that by 75%. Now, the number that produces is the maximum in T material that head will handle comfortably. Now, an experienced caster will be able to handle more, but for the average person in a typical situation, this produces a comfortable maximum. Okay, let's say we have a 420 grain Skagit head that's 24 foot long. Now we divide 420 by 24, and then we multiply that by 0.75. That produces a result of 13.125. That number suggests that T14 would be a struggle since it's smaller than 14. So we should stick to T7 or T10 for this head. Okay, so if you're looking for a very versatile set of tips that can handle a broad range of conditions, and do it with just 4 tips, plus keep your casting quite consistent, then check out the Airflo Flow Sink Tips, a very, very useful set of tips to have in your gear bag.